My name is Barry, and I'm the program director here at Rancho La Puerta. And today, I'm with Deborah Szekely, our co-founder, who started the ranch 81 years ago. So welcome, Deborah.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. So tell us, when did you start the ranch?
In 1940, in the dark ages.
In the dark
ago.
ages, so 81 years ago. And how old were you at that time?
17.
17.
Newlywed.
A newlywed at 17. And it started the ranch. Did you ever imagine it would turn into what it is now?
I was too busy to imagine anything except getting the food on the table.
Right, and it's turned into, we're considered probably the first.
Not probably.
We are the first wellness spa in the world, really.
Yes. Mm-hmm. At least Condé Nast thinks so.
Condé Nast thinks so, and Travel and Leisure does too.
We're worldwide the best.
Worldwide the best spa. I think we won that award last year. So tell me, do you have something you would consider your first wellness act?
Well, I had no choice. My mother got hooked on vegetarianism when I was 4 years old. She soon became the vice president of the New York Vegetarian Society. So I was raised as a health nut, and I've continued my life to be really nutty about health.
So when your mom was a vegetarian, was she into exercise as well?
No, they didn't. Movement wasn't part of that picture. It was just not eating meat and not eating chicken and eating as much as possible raw and fresh. To you, what does the word wellness mean? Waking up in the morning and waiting for the day to start, feeling wonderful.
So wellness to you is a state of being.
Yes.
It's how you live your life. How did you and the professor end up here in Tecate?
There are 3 towns on the border. My husband had no papers, actually didn't have any for 9 years. So when he could not renew his papers in the States, we went to Mexico, who wasn't aware that we were here and that he didn't have papers. You know, I mean, we just flew under the radar, as it was. And for 9 years, he was here. We had very little choice. Tijuana wasn't the place to move in. Mexicali was too hot. And Tecate was just right. Small town of 400 people.
Wow.
Land was very inexpensive. I mean, it was right. And the proof of it is that we're still here.
We're still here, 81 years later. So the person who runs the global wellness is a woman, correct?
Yes.
So
she created it.
She created it. So do you have women who inspire you?
I think what inspired me is there's no limits to one's imagination, and if you put your shoulder to the wheel, you'll get it done.
So there's a note here that says you took a basket of vegetables from here and you went to San Diego to sell them. Do you remember that?
No, I took tomatoes by the crate. Unfortunately, once. And arranged to sell more tomatoes, because once you plant, I didn't realize how prolific tomatoes are. And I probably planted 30 or 40 tomato things, and I had literally bushels of tomatoes. And I arranged by the second time to pick, the worms had beat me to them. So there is a tomato fuzzy worm. It has a name, but I don't remember it. And when they're there, they're there.
Right. So, but now you don't cross the border with vegetables or fruit, just so we know. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But so you grew tomatoes, but an organic garden was super important to the ranch and our wellness theme, correct?
Yes, that's why we had worms, because we didn't spray. That's why today we have several hundred olive trees, and we don't do olive oil because bugs got in it. And if you take one of our olives now and in the ground, they're beautiful. They're all over right now this time of the year. You open it, you see eggs.
Right.
Yeah. And since we don't spray, those things become no. So we have a large field that once had carrots. and it got bugs, and now we have a large field where we put a chicken pen. Hopefully the chickens, who's win, the bugs or the chickens?
Now, I've heard you say before that when you, literally the first day you moved here, you guys started your garden. So
That's right.
Organic garden has always been important here.
Well, also we didn't have any money. That makes a difference.
Yeah. So it was a necessity.
Yes.
And we still have an organic garden, which is...
We have 9 acres of organic garden that feeds our guests, ourselves, and most of the so-called cancer clinics in Tijuana. We send them organic vegetables too.
Right, and I believe that also our surplus goes into Tecate too, to some different organizations. So when did you first hear the word wellness used in conjunction with the ranch? Do you remember how that all...
It's a comparatively recent word. I'm about to be 99, so comparatively recent could be 10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But when iSpa started using wellness, you would have to look that up. I'm afraid to go down and reckon on when they began using the term. But it became, we used to, call it healthy or this or that. And wellness means more than health.
Right.
Than physical health.
Right.
It means well. It means you're adjusted to your life, you're thriving. It means so much more because it has all the, not only physical but psychological and spiritual. It means you are a complete functioning person doing good.
Right.
To me, that's what wellness means.
And I agree. And I think at the ranch, we focus on mind, body, and spirit. Those three aspects, the whole being.
And we always had, but we didn't have a single word to encompass.
And now we use wellness to kind of encompass that.
Yeah.
What do you think is the importance of wellness in the world today, especially the current world we're living in?
I think it's all important. Because it meant living well, enjoying life. It means much more than just physical health. So it's spiritual health as well. It's a very important term. And it's a goal still to be achieved.
Right. And I think that now in the travel industry, in the vacation industry, a lot of people are looking for wellness travel and wellness vacation. And it works well for the ranch. I think more and more people are seeking that when they go on vacation. They don't want to just go somewhere. They want to make sure that it's somewhere that's sustainable, somewhere they can eat healthy, somewhere they can feed their mind, body, and spirit. Are there some specific ways you think the ranch shares wellness and shares wellness with the world?
Well, by example. In a way, you can talk about the way from the time wellness began, it was a sapling, and now it's a forest of trees. It's spread.
Right.
And will continue to, and we hope and pray.
Right.
It will continue to spread. Because it does mean a wellness of body and mind and spirit.
Right.
I do love that term. It's an all-encompassing term.
Right, and I think I've heard you say this to guests before when we do our lectures at night, that one of the benefits of the ranch, even though we're only touching maybe 150 guests a week, those 150 people go back out into the world and touch 150 people each, and so it's like a rippling effect of wellness and health, right?
Yes.
And I think that's one of the great things that the ranch does. Can you describe one of your happiest moments in your life? It could be, I'm sure you have many
There's
happy
so
moments.
many.
Yes.
It certainly is connected with children. My happiest moments were all connected as a mama.
As a mom, yeah. How often do you get to come to the ranch now?
I now come every week, and I speak every Wednesday. And I was really, during the lockdown, I really missed the ranch. So I just moved over and stayed here for 5 weeks.
Yes, I remember.
Had a wonderful time.
Right.
The ranch had only security and me.
Right. So besides imparting wellness on all our guests, what do you do at age 99 to stay well in your life?
I believe in eating right, acting right, thinking right. I believe if you do all those things, you're going to be fine.
Right.
And you know what's right. You don't need a book. You just have to be generally knowledgeable, and you'll do the right thing. And you know when you make a mistake and it's wrong, you know it's wrong. You just avoid that word as part of your lifestyle.
Right, and I think you've said before that even when you make a mistake, there's no regrets. You can't go back and worry about it. It's done and move on.
You learn from it.
You learn from it.
Experience is how you use it. Somebody wiser than me said that. Experience is how you use it. Then it's really experience. Otherwise, it's just passing something around.
Yeah. Something you just said that I really like that people they don't think about is what you think about is important, and your thoughts.
Well, I really believe in the moment. I spend very, very little time thinking about the past, and not too much time on the future. The moment is the moment. It's gone.
Right.
And I read something or other where they compared that to a river running by, a creek running by. That water is there for an instant and is not there ever again. It keeps on running. And what you do about it affects that which is running.
How do you keep negative thoughts away? I think that
I just said to myself, I'm not going to go there.
Right. So when they pop up, you just...
There's nothing I can do about all the people who are dying and this and this and that.
Right.
Even if I'm sorry for them, it's not going to have any effect. So put your time and your thoughts on being of service, of doing things that gives you satisfaction, that is helping other people. I mean,
right.
What's done is done.
I think it's a really good, I think it's a good point what you just brought up, that I think a part of wellness that we could include in that definition is service to others, because service to others is service to yourself.
It is.
Right.
You cannot give with a closed hand.
Right.
That's a Jewish thing. You know, if I give you something, I receive. And so it's an exchange of friendships and thinking or food or this or that, but still you cannot give with a closed hand.
I buy that, and I'm not Jewish, so I'll go ahead. I'll buy that. I'll make that one. I agree with that.
I just can imagine what you'd be like if you were Jewish.
I used to work at the Jewish Community Center, so people used to think I was Jewish. I have a Jewish name. How do you face challenging times when they come along? Well, this year has been a challenge for everyone on the planet.
Well, I haven't worried about everyone on the planet. The challenge on me and my friends, people I can help, there weren't many. They did well because I'm at an age where most people are pretty settled. The lockdown of not seeing people. You know, I have friends that on Sunday, from the beginning of the pandemic, we do a Zoom. We each drink a glass of wine, a separate glass of wine, and toast each other. And then we tell each other what the week was like. It's a 40-minute phone call by the time we're finished. I mean, we've talked about this and this and this and that. So I've stayed in contact with a number of friends. And
well, I think you touch on another thing that I think is super important, is that human connection is super important part of wellness and being a healthy individual.
Definitely.
Right. And I think it's been challenging for people now because Zoom is what they have to connect with people. So it's nice having, I think it's nice to be back at the ranch and see faces and people again.
But it helped us through a difficult period.
Right. How does the ranch share wellness in our immediate community here of Tecate?
Well, we work on the children at the school level. And we have summer camp in which we teach them about organic growing. They start a little garden and they get to see the first sprouts. They don't get to see it eventually, but they can see it, the miracle of nature. And to be aware of the miracles, constant miracles of nature. We're generous when there's emergencies, and we do what we can. We've done cleanups. One year, my daughter and her crew took hundreds and hundreds of tires along the river that runs through Tecate. It was a dump. Everybody would back up a pickup when they had a bunch of junk. It was so much more easy to go to the end of the street where the street ended into the creek, in the river, Tecate River, which at that time was a creek, now doesn't flow. But they would dump everything. And we cleaned up the whole span of the river from the top of the town to the bottom of the town. We took out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tires that everybody, if you had to change your tires, you toss them there, and trash. And it has stayed clean. I mean, it needs no, the people liked it. And they stopped dumping their trash in it. And so we've done it in small ways. We did the first schoolyard in Tecate. It was the first elementary school was on a hill, and they had no playground. And we took all the ranch equipment and staff, and we leveled it all. And the next year, when the kids got to school, when it was raining, and we had more rain then, their shoes were muddy and wet, and they'd go to the classroom with muddy and wet. Eventually, the shoes dried, but left the mud there. We did a cement walkway. I thought the parents would build the walkway. We provided the cement, but they didn't get around to it, so the ranch staff did that. So we, here and there, we put fences where they were needed, where cattle got out. Just little things, nothing big, but they added up to improving a very small town, 400 people, into becoming a major, third largest city in Baja California.
Yeah, that's great. We were talking about spirit, mind, body, and we threw in service for wellness. We haven't talked specifically about exercise, and maybe the word exercise I don't love, but I have heard you say before, movement is life. So movement is a very important part of wellness.
Movement is what you're doing. You wake up and you're doing things, and getting things done that was a good day. When you put your head on the pillow at night, if you can say to yourself, that was a neat day.
And movement is important to you personally, even at 99, because...
Oh yes, religiously. I walk about a mile a day. I go from my house through the park, out the park, and back home, and it's roughly a mile. And I do that every day when I'm in town. And when I'm at the ranch, I walk around. I have no idea how much, but we're not clocks that you can just wind whenever you need it and have movement. We have to be continuous.
It's a part of your life.
I can't afford to stop moving.
Because I remember you saying before, when you stop moving, you stop living. So movement is life, and that's movement in your mind as well as your body. Do you have? I know people ask you this all the time, but a couple little secrets to living a full, long life? Because most people would say at 99 you've lived a long life.
Well, doing what you know is right. Doing, as I said, acting, thinking what you know is right. I think, I don't know from personal experience, but I imagine the weight of guilt is very heavy. Or the weight, I wish I hadn't said that, or you're wasting time on the past. The present is but a moment, and that's, you have to grasp that moment and do things that's pleasing.
So Rancho La Puerta has a motto that everyone knows that your husband made up. What is that, and where did that come from?
Siempre mejor, always better. And it's really valid. Every day can be always better. And the ranch, look at it now.
Right.
Believe me, we are siempre mejor.
Yeah.
And I wish everyone siempre mejor day and life.